meeting with my superiors, a meeting in Atlanta at which I was to be honored following the whole tragic fiasco. Technically, I was AWOL at that time, since the CDC and U.S. Public Health Service still had some vestiges of the Navy from which they were born. That storm blew over when my boss got in touch with me at my rented vacation house and convinced me to be on the next plane back east if I ever wanted to have a career to gripe about. I returned to Atlanta for one day, then flew back to California to finish the vacation. After that, the rest of my tenure as an EIS officer was a hodgepodge of the mundane and the exciting. Work in the office, 3 weeks in Angola to help deal with the Marburg virus mess there. Crunching through databases 1 week, spraying bodies with bleach in 110-degree heat the next. Another day in the life, right? By the end of my 2 years, things actually seemed to be on the up and up. Negotiations about where I would find myself seemed to be going well. There were a couple of non-Atlanta positions in which I was interested. A couple of people who were interested in me filling those positions. At that time, though, CDC was under assault by an ideological executive branch filled with fanatics who had little use for the truth. Reports were being edited, science was being politicized, all that crap. Scientists and epidemiologists don't generally cotton to lying and manipulation, so CDC had been slowly bleeding good people. When a friend of mine quit in protest after crucial data in a report she wrote had been dropped, she'd shown that condom education had no effect on promiscuity, I followed her out the door. I can't abide idiocy, which can make for problems in a government employee. On the personal front, my life was just about as complicated. Not that it was bad. It was actually quite good for a guy whose batting average with women hung in the low double digits. After an idyllic month seaside with Brooke, I went back to Atlanta. She stayed in California, grinding away at the Santa Clara Department of Public Health. Somehow we managed to keep the bicoastal relationship alive for almost a year. A paycheck decimated by transcontinental plane tickets was proof of my feelings for the woman. When I finished with the EIS, I tried to get Brooke to move. Anywhere but Northern California, I begged her. The last place on the planet I wanted to be was the Bay Area. Even Baghdad looked attractive by comparison. If push came to shove, I would have stayed in the Southeast, pimples be damned. San Francisco was a place so filled with personal baggage I got a backache just thinking about it. But Brooke was pretty well ensconced. So I moved west a month before that tete-a-tete with the moron lawyer. No job, no place of my own. I made the move for love. It was, perhaps, another mistake. "You going to look at apartments today?" Brooke asked. She stood in the archway to the living room, arms crossed in front of that athletic body, blonde hair pulled back in a ponytail. Tight white t-shirt. Cotton panties, no pants. She looked very sexy and very pissed. "Subtle, Brooke." "I just don't know if this is working," she said. "You living here." I rolled my head on the pillow toward the boxes and duffels piled against the wall of Brooke's living room. All my life contained therein. At least it will be cheap to get these back east. "I don't mean here, California. I mean living here. My house. You know what I mean." "I'm not living here, sweetie. Unless you consider my toothbrush in your bathroom living here." "Nate." "Brooke." She sat on the chair at one end of the couch, affording me a generous glimpse of the panties. She caught me looking and crossed her legs. "Okay," I said. "I may be having a little difficulty with the transition." "A little difficulty? You've already alienated half my social circle." "Be a circle half full person, Brooke, not circle half empty." "Can you stop joking for once? Jesus." "I need a glass of water." With superhuman effort, I pulled myself off the couch and shuffled into the kitchen. I was worried my head might explode, which would mean quite a cleanup for